Good morning and welcome to the Unboring Bible Journey, week 21, day 2, and it has been a day. However, I wanted to come on and just give you a quick bite because you are finishing up 2 Samuel today, and there are like 4 different directions we could go and pick a different portion of this one chapter because there's so much meat here, but I figured I'd just address one component, and that is the sin involved with David taking a census. Now, we don't think anything about counting the people. That's not something that we seem to think that there's a problem with. And in fact, in Luke, we know that the Romans were taking a census because they needed to know exactly what it was that they were in charge of. So what's the problem, and why is it a sin that David wants to take a census of the people? I would suggest to you, it's not the what, but it's the how. Right? David sends out Joab to number the people. But we have some specific instructions about how censuses were to be conducted in Exodus 30, verse 12. And it says, listen, when you number the people, make sure that when you number them, they give a half shekel to the Lord. Specifically so that a plague does not erupt out amongst the people. Obviously, David had not been reading his law, or he would have known this is going to be a problem. But no, he sends Joab out to count the people. So what's the difference here? Why? In Exodus, when men are counted and a census is taken, it's for the purpose usually of going to war. Okay, so there's a reason for the census. But in addition, when it is taken, the men have to redeem themselves with a half shekel, which was roughly 1 to 2 days' salary. Not a huge amount, but enough if you were only getting daily bread. What David did was infer that the people belonged to him. His census, his counting, not for war, because he wanted to know how many people he had in his country that he was in charge of, as opposed to the men redeeming themselves from Yahweh, which is in a recognition that they belong not to the king, not to the priest, but to God himself. So we have this sin that's come about, not because a census was taken, but because of how the census was taken. Okay, I hope you find that interesting. Have a great day. Bye-bye.